Achemka dureu. Nenywe mwamwe dureire. Ni ndagerania na muthee wakwa kwambata kirima. Tukigeria ngimugurira nginya iratu. Twakinyire hari iguru tugititiruka tukigwa thi. Ni mukugura mukunyururia. Ati twagwire thi. Agecora gatu. Agai agitiguo rionga. No nake Ngai akire okuo tonda koma riu thiku ici ndirakoma kayore. Ndarakoma. Mumenye kuu niguo ndari mwiritu wa wira na no kuo Ngai anyoneire. Ni maraigua? Riu reke ndimwire. We ni kumenya kana we bokorino kiremba kiu ni ndambia gugicukurira. Ni maraigua horo? Heru baro-ini gwatiriri mbeu ya Ngai ndiumaga. Mbeu ya Ngai. Mbeu ya Ngai ndĩbunagwo nĩ heho. Mbeu ya Ngai. Tondu wa ũhoro ũcio na ithiĩ mũtungatĩte wega nĩ ndamũconorithia nĩ nditũrĩte ndĩmũnyitĩrĩire wega Ngai akĩndirika thĩinĩ wa kĩama kĩa Jubilee kĩrĩa ndaikarĩte na rokĩo ndĩ nginya ũmũthĩ gĩtuĩka nominated gĩtuĩka mũjumbe nominated thĩinĩ wa National Assembly thĩinĩ wa mbunge ya bũrũri. Ũcio tiwe Ngai na ningire hau tondu nominated ri tugange mishumaga naku no njikare thĩ andũ aitũ nyone keki kĩgaywo njikare ũguo atĩ tondu ndiarĩ wa thirikari atĩ ngĩeterera ĩrĩa ĩgoka nĩ tũtirĩ twana tũgĩ niĩ na Beti na mũgwari o hau nĩguo tũkiuga mũthomi mũgĩikagia maitho na kabe tondu rĩrĩ ndũngĩitwo nĩ nyama ĩrĩa ĩ thani-inĩ na wĩ nyama ĩka nĩ twambe wambĩrĩrie ũrĩkie na ĩno wĩna nyama gĩkanua na ĩkĩ thani-inĩ wahatana nacio ithĩ ndũgũgĩitwo nĩguo andũ aitũ tukiuga tukwenda kuikara thĩinĩ wa thirikari tondu wona ithurano ciathira maũndũ mothe nĩ mathiri mwathurire andũ aigana nĩ mũririkanaga kana mũririkanaga o kĩmwe andũ maraigana wa mbere MCA ambĩrĩriai haha matũra-inĩ tigai kũriganĩrwo wa mbere wa kerĩ MP wa gatatũ Senator wa kana women rep nĩguo wa gatano gavana wa gatandatũ president koguo nginya rĩrĩa tũroka matũra-inĩ tũtige gũtira tũgĩkuithia mũndũ ũmwe mũrigo tondũ mwana ũmwe ti kĩ nĩguo wa MCA ũkamũkamũria tondũ nĩ twagũthurire rĩu twĩna mĩaka ĩrĩ na nuthu rĩ wĩkĩte atĩa nĩ twanyita andũ aitũ MCA oka nake MP oka ithe ndarĩ haha nĩ mũigua rĩndĩ ndu nginya nĩ agĩrire mwarimũ kuma Gĩkũyũ akĩmũrehe gũkũ nĩguo tũthondekere technical institute itũ na ndinona mũno nĩ Beti atĩ nĩ ekũheana mbeca cia Ruto ta mwahũra rũhĩ rwega mũhũrei rũhĩ rwega na nĩ ngũmũthaitha aciari mũndũ wĩna mwanake kana mũirĩtu wake mũciĩ handũ haikare ũcio warĩkĩirie aiti kana form 4 ndamũthaitha thukuru ũcio ndahĩtũkĩra handũ na airĩtu marathondeka keki njega mũno ndona marathondeka mĩthugwiti nĩ marathondeka tũindo twega nginya nĩ mena nginya macini cia gũthondeka ngari na ndaigua mũgo nĩ aratũmanire kũrahenirwo mirioni 10 ndaigua mũrimũ akiuga ũguo na cigũkinya 30 by the way nĩguo thukuru ĩyo ĩnenehegie nginya na driving school kothi ĩkoragwo kĩ kothi ĩkoragwo mo na wĩra wa maitho no ngarĩ wa rũthiomi nĩkĩo no ngorwo mwana ndanyitaga aiguaga oti he mũndũ tanyitire icio no angĩnyita wĩra wa moko nĩ kũhota kwĩrũgamĩrĩ nĩtugo aciari mwendaga mũtũrĩre nĩguo tũkerũgamĩrĩra ndamũthaitha na mwĩrwo no 1,500 na rĩu ciana iria ikwĩyandĩkithia ithe matirĩ harĩa anake aitũ na airĩtu arĩa me gũkũ mũthi mwĩyandĩkithi harĩa ithe Beti ndaruta mbeca nĩ kwĩyandĩkithia driving yes
Service in Kenya has often faced criticism for nepotism and lack of accountability. What concrete measures will you implement to ensure that recruitment and promotions are strictly merit-based? You have already talked on that. This you haven't, you can answer. What is the nominee's perspective on the widespread perception that social protection programs like Inua Jamii are politically targeted rather than needs-based? The second one that you can answer, what is his stance on conducting a nationwide lifestyle audit of all public and state officers as a condition for holding office? If appointed, would he recommend the same? You can answer those two.
The first one, in terms of ensuring those who are physically...
that one you already answered. I told you answer. What is your perspective on the widespread perception that social protection programs like Inua Jamii are politically targeted rather than needs-based?
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Inua Jamii is a very key component, a program for the people of the Republic of Kenya, especially those who are aged, and through our administration, through the chiefs and assistant chiefs, and also the public opinion, our elected leaders in our grassroots MCAs will ensure the Inua Jamii is well targeted, and it target the very vulnerable in our communities, and also those who have reached the age of 70 and they don't have the dependents who can take care of them, through consultative forums for opinion leaders, field elders, chiefs and assistant chiefs, and also our MCAs, to ensure.
You will not politicize the program.
I will not at any moment politicize this very important program.
Lifestyle audit?
Yes, lifestyle audit has been tried in the past. I think it's something that we may want to consider moving forward, so that we minimize to everybody be accountable, especially the public servants.
Thank you, Ruku. We'll ask you a few other questions. What is your net worth?
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Land and buildings, about 40 million. Family residence, 60 million. SACCO and savings, 15 million. Share from private company, 250 million. Motor vehicles, about 12 million, a total of 377 million.
Have you ever been convicted of an offense in a court of law?
No.
Have you ever been adversely mentioned in a parliamentary committee report?
No.
Do you hold any office in any political party?
No.
You're not an official of DP?
I'm not an official of DP. I'm a member.
Yeah. Have you ever been dismissed or removed from office for contravention of provisions of Article 75 of the Constitution?
No.
We have received your documents that have been cross-checked with what we have and have been found in order, so we can now release you to go to your other duties.
I thank you, Honorable Speaker and Honorable Members, for this opportunity to interact with this very important committee and also with Kenyans. Thank you so much.
Thank you, and may you have a good afternoon. Honorable members, it's 3:10. Can we break for lunch for 30 minutes? We resume at 20 to 4, so that we give also the clerks time to clean up the room. Members of the press, you're also invited to lunch.
Access the reports. We will hear from our analyst today, who will help us demystify and unpack the budget numbers. But before then, I would like to welcome our country lead and head of programs, Daniel Ndirangu, to to welcome us and set the pace for us. Thank you.
Good morning. Good morning. So I prepared a speech here. I won't throw it away. I'll read it because I don't want to miss something that was important for us to hear. My name is Daniel Dirangu. I'm the country lead at IPF, and it's a real pleasure to have all of you. Thank you for honoring us. Special thanks to our chief guest, Honorable Ndindi Nyoro, the MP for Kiharu. Kiharu is known for many things, a lot of them good, and we are happy that you have honored this invitation to help us discuss the 5th edition of the annual National Shadow Budget. So for those who are hearing the annual National Shadow Budget for the first time, I just want to paint a picture of what this product is and why it's important for us to engage and listen and participate in the process of the annual National Shadow Budget as a precursor of the budget that will be tabled in Parliament before April 30th in a few weeks, in a few days. So we are happy that you've honored our invitation. I'll be happy to dig into the report and engage with us as it were. So on behalf of IPF, I want to sincerely thank you for engaging us and for allowing us to utilize part of your morning for us to engage in aspects of public finance accountability and participatory budgeting. One of our key values at IPF is participatory budgeting. And we know one key pillar of sound public finance management system is participation. And it's envisioned in the Constitution and subsequent laws that citizens and stakeholders and actors will engage in the budget process, and this is one of the tools that we prepare to support that process. So what is this shadow budget? Is it just an opposing document? Is it inconsistent with what the national government prepares? The answer is no. The goal here is to do a very rigorous analysis in collaboration that is born out of partnerships with like our key experts seated on this. Most of our key experts are seated here. So John Yangi, please join your fellow colleagues on that table. We have engaged key experts who are experts in different sectors from the trade, commerce, environment, GJ law, public administration, health, and such experts in the sector. So over the past 5 years, because this edition has evolved from the first initial product, this has become a critical voice that complements the budgeting process. The first version is not like the current version. We have improved over time. We have developed this as an alternative proposition that especially Parliament can use to critique or analyze and scrutinize the budget. The same for citizens. If you're interested in a sector, the main report has analysis and key questions that should be asking your member of Parliament or your representative in Parliament to answer or to respond to based on the sector interest that you have. So we have developed alternative propositions where possible to government budget priorities, because we've analyzed the performance, we've analyzed budget allocations, we've analyzed the outcomes, and we have critically looked at what the budget will be if it was supposed to deliver services effectively, efficient, and in an equitable manner. So this is not just a critique for the sake of opposition. That's not what we are doing here. But it's a contribution to public interest, technical depth, as I've said, our experts are bringing on board, and a commitment to transparency for anyone who will not be able to access, any other budget-related document. At least ours is open source, and you'll be able to access some of the things that will be useful to you. So how do we achieve this? We have continuously reviewed key budget documents since the budget cycle started last year in August. So over time, from the budget review and outlook paper, the sector working group reports, the budget policy statement, and other policy proposals that have come along the year, we have continuously monitored what is happening. Then we brought on board experts who have helped us break down these for 9 key sectors, with the exception of one, for obvious reasons, the national security. Not much is known about it. We don't know either, so we didn't touch that. And then dug into those documents to critique them and looked at what budget allocations looks like, what sector priorities are, how other flagship policy documents say, like the medium-term, expenditure framework, MTP4, and also the Vision 2030 and other attending documents. So we've dug deep into those documents through our analysis. And so whatever we are presenting here today is a thorough, analytical, depth, well thought out questions that should be able to guide our reflections as we scrutinize the next budget. So why is this important? The context for us is these publications comes when Kenya public finance management system is facing intense pressure. There is a government trying to navigate a very complex balance between paying debt, providing services, and also honoring other obligations, like paying salaries and maintaining basic level of service delivery. So this landscape is very fluid. And so alternative voices that have different perspectives and different views should be welcome to help us navigate this complex fiscal space. Well, macroeconomic indicators have shown that Kenya has been quite resilient to external shocks. We must ask and take this a moment to ask whether this growth is translating into impact. We have a projected growth of 5.3% against the current 4.3 projected for 2024. The inflation is stable. The shilling has appreciated slightly against the major currencies, and foreign exchange reserves within the 4-month threshold. They're slightly above the 4-month threshold. But are these macroeconomic wins, do these macro wins raise more pressing questions? Yes, they do. Because we ask whether this growth is broad-based. Is it just being driven by some sectors or across all sectors? We have seen in our analysis that growth has been driven majorly by service industry and the agriculture sector. The manufacturing sector has been lagging behind, which has affected job creation and also raising more labor-related questions on how we are going to maintain the current labor force. We have a very huge youth bulge that do not have jobs. So if the economy is expanding in some sectors and not others, what is the implication of that? The second question we want to ask ourselves is whether this prosperity is shared across all income levels. The poverty report that was released in 2022 indicated that 4 out of 10 people live below the poverty line. So look at yourself, count up to number 4 if you're 10. 4 of you live below the poverty level. It's even serious that about 4 million Kenyans, are also what we call multidimensionally poor. Even if they were to spend every shilling that they have in their household for food only, they will still not afford it. Is that prosperity shared? That's the question we want to ask ourselves today. In the minds of ordinary citizens, they want to know whether the reforms that are happening in education, in health, in infrastructure, whether they translate into any tangible impact in their lives directly. Whether the education sector reforms and the education sector budget will be translated into outcomes, because we have seen in our analysis, and this will be presented by my colleagues, that the budget is absorbed at 100%, but the outcomes are still suboptimal. So what is going on there? Where is this budget being committed to? Are we prioritizing things that were not in the budget, or why do we absorb the entire budget and not meet the outcomes? And finally, is whether there are any tangible results from taxes paid to rebuild the public trust. This has been eroded over the course of last year from when the finance bill was withdrawn. And we're asking whether there are any tangible results that we might realize from this process that is helpful to rebuild that public trust. And in conclusion, this shadow budget is not just challenging numbers. It raises questions that Kenyans are asking every day. It pushes us to shift the debate from just this is the amount of money we have allocated to this is what we've realized with the amount of money that has been allocated. It helps us to move from ambition to accountability and from process to products, form and substance. And our ask this year is we are recalibrating budget performance in the face of fiscal constraints. How can we better utilize the resources that we have? How can we have a direct response to the misalignment between budgetary allocations and sectoral outcomes? How do we see readjustments of budget expenditure when we have a shortfalls in revenue? How are those priorities done, especially through the supplementaries? So we thank you, I thank you all and welcome you to engage with us. And we believe that this document.
Number one is to take institutional reforms very seriously. If you look at the regression of economic growth from China, from all the other countries, institutional reforms takes up a sizable influence on the dynamics of economic growth. Sio kupaka mafuta. In Kenya we come rebrand an agency and we call it institutional reform. We need to be very deliberate. Institutional reform must incorporate the size of government. Kenya can act optimally with half of the government we have in terms of its size. We can cut the government into half across everything. Government, if government is a loaf of bread, you can cut it by half. All the resources of government, you can cut it by half, and my grandmother will not notice. What am I trying to say? That service delivery will not be hampered. Institutional reform must be deliberate and must be objective. The other thing, the Eurobond we borrowed, for example, the one I talked about 10% to retire the 6.8%, we borrowed alone 30% higher price to pay another one. I wish we did a few things instead of borrowing more. Kenya has got assets. And some of these assets, we bought them for commercial purpose alone. Government invests in institutions for many factors. Strategic reasons, there is also commercial reasons. In the year 2020, Safaricom market capitalization was around 1.5 trillion Kenya shillings. 1.5 trillion. The government of Kenya owns 35% of Safaricom. 20% of that Safaricom at the market cap then of 1.5 trillion is 300 billion. Only 30% alone. You could have raised 300 billion without borrowing anything. But some people will argue, but why would you sell it? It gets dividend. I mean, even in the investment arena itself, you take the amount of money the government cumulatively has received in dividends. It may need to receive dividends for hundreds of years for it to match this kind of investment. The other thing people talk about, you can't sell a company like Safaricom. It holds very strategic reasons for our country. Which strategic reasons cannot be handled? And that regulator can hold the forte of government there. You can even have a regulation that the government will have board of directors without necessarily even having a shareholding. You can have it. Just as currently the CBK forces banks, you must have independent directors. The government will not own your bank, but they'll force you. You have to have independent directors. Government can still control companies through regulation. You don't have to control companies through ownership and stake. Now, this is the thing. Now, that market capitalization of Safaricom has now come down from 1.5 trillion to 700 billion as of yesterday. We must be strategic even in government investments so that we make it, we have an efficient asset management arm of government so that they are able to make optimal decisions. Why would you go to borrow money as a government? Private sector investment. To invest. You are not hungry. You are okay. You are not maybe even Kenyan. So you have a home by the beach. You have money. I want to ask a rhetorical question. Between this person who has 10 billion shillings, them they are okay, they have a house, they are able to take care of themselves, but they have 10 billion, they want to invest in Kenya. Is this person doing Kenya a favor or is it fine? Wewe uko na gari yako, hata uko na dege, unakaa ng'ambo, you are not even Kenyan. You will live in the most exotic places and you have money and you want to invest. So you are not looking for money to buy food. You are actually looking for money just as a creation of wealth. Money to put up a factory somewhere and you say to it is in Kenya. And when, or any other developing country, when you come in with this money and you are investing in Kenya, somebody want to treat you like helping you is a favor they are doing you. Entrepreneurs, if they are given the primacy of the role that should be given to them, they can do much of the work that the government already does. And therefore take up some more roles from government for government to concentrate on just a few. If you look at, for example, the R&D budget of Amazon, it is bigger, research and development, it's a big budget in developed countries. The R&D budget of Amazon is higher than the R&D budget for the entire Germany. Germany as a country has a lower R&D budget than Amazon as a country. Just imagine if Amazon was not there. The R&D budget of Meta, for example, and maybe only two tech companies in the US combined, is higher than the entire R&D budget of the government of the United States. What am I trying to say? There are some things that are already being funded by the private sector in that country where the government does not actually need to have that money in their fiscals. Because the ultimate result of R&D as research is to do things more efficiently, is to do things better. If private sector is given enough resources, enough support, they can end up doing much more of what the government does. Asanteni sana.
All right. Thank you very much for the economics class, Honorable Dendi. That was very useful. I hope you have all enjoyed. We now want to move to the last step of this launch. Just play that short video, and then we can move forward to the rest of the day. Please indulge us in the next couple of minutes. Well, this was supposed to happen to some of us here, so we can make our way here. Yeah, thank you. Right, is it? Oh, it's still going on? Okay.
Every year, a national budget is tabled, promises are made, numbers are crunched. High interest payments on debt have contributed to high debt fragility and the risk of high debt distress. The question that lingers is, how will the government finance the 4.3 trillion shillings budget in the coming year? The government has proposed some reforms.
As we celebrate the publication that is now accessible and available for all of us. So I would like to welcome Sarita to just take 1 minute for a vote of thanks, and then we'll request our guest to just hold on for a few minutes for photo ops, then we will close the meeting.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. My name is Sarita Chege, and I serve as the Programs and Operations Associate at the Institute of Public Finance. And I'm just honored to give the vote of thanks on behalf of IPF this morning. And first and foremost is to just thank each and every one of you for joining us to witness the launch of our 5th edition of the annual shadow budget. Not only have you graced this event, but your presence also reaffirms the value of evidence-based dialogue in shaping Kenya's public finance. So just to mention the people in the room, our distinguished guests, Honorable Ndindi Nyoro, MP Kiharu Constituency, Member of Budget and Appropriations Committee, Mercy Mwangi, the Executive Director of KEWOPA, our sector experts, who I will just name one of them, Stephen Jaramba, Engineer James Murage, Jean Kambuni, John Nyangi, Dr. Patricia Nyukabi, Francis Xavier, Dr. Vincent Ngeno, Dr. Aaron Thegea, Janet Ouko. Thank you so much for that. Our partners, Bajeti Hub, World Vision, Christian Aid, ASNET, TISA, Oxfam, Hennet, members of the Fourth Estate, fellow IPF colleagues, friends of IPF, thank you all for being here this morning, and just thankful for your unwavering commitment to transparency, accountability, and inclusive governance. I also want to thank the Hyatt Regency Hotel for just creating this space for us where we can engage in such a powerful conversation. So thank you all for coming and for being here. We ask that we can move to the photo session just over here. And yes, I think there's still breakfast being served. So have a good day and God bless you all.
Utaitoa kabisa. Hizo sijui ni zamani. Oh, kumbe hii ni hao watu.